Hey kids! I am here to teach you about 19th century art and literature.
Yay!
Also, I'm sorry that I'm about to make you watch like 3 minutes of me just talking to you awkwardly in front of a camera, but keep in mind that this is much better than some other things that I could have forced you to watch. Hey kids! I'm gonna teach you about 19th century art and literature. Yeah, that would have been a little bit horrifying for all of us. Also, I'm not mean and I'm not gonna make you take notes or anything, but please do pay attention, or at least attempt to, because I'm going to be asking questions towards the end. Also, if you guys see any, aliens running around behind me, those are my cats. So basically, the 19th century took place in actually the 1800s, so don't get confused. And the 19th century was actually a really awesome time for art and literature in America. Basically just because the Civil War had just ended, so nobody had anything to do, so the art and literature world in America just exploded. Also, around this time, something called Romanticism was introduced to America, which was basically the style of writing that Americans stole from Europeans that heavily focused on creativity and imagination and emotion, which is basically the reason why America and all the stuff that you read in your books is all creative and about dragons and weird things. Also, you guys have heard of Edgar Allan Poe and stuff. He wrote all of the freaky, depressing poetry that we all find so awesome. He lived during this time, and he made the creepy, mystery detective stories popular. So you can thank him in the 19th century for that. Fun. This time was really good for art as well as literature, mainly because art galleries and museums started popping up around in the really major cities around this time, so that was good. Although one of the downsides was that there weren't very many art schools in America, so a lot of the 19th century artists that you hear about are either self-taught or they receive their educations in Europe. So the author that's from this time period that I'm going to force knowledge about into your brains has an extremely long name, so I'm not going to expect you to remember it. Her name was Emma Dorothy Eliza Knivet, abbreviated to Eden Southworth. She was probably one of the most widely spread novelists of the 19th century. She published over 60 novels. And most of her stories, like most other novels back in the day, were originally published in newspapers until the newspapers got tired of publishing them, so they started publishing them in little cheap paperback books. Her best-known story was actually a series which was published in 3 different newspapers before they were made into books. Her stories commonly took place in the South and took place after the Civil War. So of course I also have to teach you about an artist. He's relatively popular, you've probably heard of him. His name is Winslow Homer. His mother actually painted watercolors, so he learned most of his stuff from her. Otherwise, he was self-taught. Homer worked as an illustrator for about 20 years, which was a pretty good chunk out of his career. He submitted art to multiple magazines, including Ballot's Pictorial and Harper's Weekly. Thanks to him, we know a lot about what happened on the home front during the Civil War, because he did a lot of drawings of basically what women did while the war was going on. That's basically all I've got to shove into your brains now. Yeah.